In Romans chapter 12, as Paul was giving instructions on how the church people should behave, he also gives us a little pep talk about how we should be serving in the church too. Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Wednesday. After talking about how we should love and how we should abhor evil, Paul turns to discuss how we should be serving the Lord within the confines of the church. He says in Romans chapter 12 and verse 11, not lagging in diligence, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. Anytime I hear that phrase, not lagging, my mind goes back to a middle school track meet where some young person has been coerced into running the 800 or even maybe the 1600 meter, the mile. And you see them falling behind, maybe even a lap or two until their feet are hardly moving. You see them shuffling along toward the finish line. I wonder if that's what we look like to God sometimes as we fulfill our role within the church. He says, not lagging in diligence. Diligence is actually one of my favorite words in the scripture. It talks about being conscientious or being attentive to our labor. Of course, diligence also speaks to being persistent, having that stick-to-itiveness. The kind of person that may be industrious in other endeavors is sometimes lagging in the work of the church or in the service of the Lord. Diligence is actually used 15 times in the scriptures, such as keep thy heart with all diligence, he says in the book of Proverbs, to remind us that when we let down our guard, Satan will certainly jump in. Besides our diligent work ethic, he also says to be fervent in spirit. Now, perhaps just as important as working diligently, we need to be driven by a fervent spirit. Fervent meaning the idea of passionate or zealous or maybe even burning in an intensity that drives our work and our service for the Lord. You need to read the story in Numbers chapter 25 sometime to see how God honored Phinehas because of all those who were lagging in their dedication to God. They were allowing sin to run rampant within the camp. Phinehas stopped it, and he was remembered by God as being zealous for his God. You see, zeal and passion need to be a driving force whenever we're serving the Lord, rather than getting tired or bored or even lazy sometimes in our role in the church. He caps off the verse by reminding us that diligence and fervor are all to be utilized as we are serving the Lord. It would be great if we were to remind ourselves that all we do in the church and for others is not just to fill a role or to take a job. It's actually serving the Lord. That should stir our fervor. It should light our fire, cause us to be more diligent. As Paul reminds the church in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, therefore, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all to the glory of God. And remind ourselves that we are serving Him, not just others.